Hello, another great day to just connect with you via this platform. I keep saying it that I don't consider myself as the most qualified to be doing this, but hey, I just want to add my voice to the very important subject matter of family, the value of the family. My name is Ephraim Osarai. So thank you once again for being with me today. Um, the topic that we're looking at is a part three of what we started considering. Um, just to talk about um, family actualization. It looks like big English, but we'll try and unpack it later. But we all know about self-actualization. This chart it's one that most people in the business world, psychologists, counselors, many people can relate to the Maslow's hierarchy of tier of needs, which is that before you can go up to esteem and self-actualization, you would have satisfied the lower needs. For somebody that doesn't have food to eat, for example, they would not be talking about esteem or being self-actualized. But we'll look more into that a bit more later. But just going back to where we started this conversation from, we had a look at self-discovery, because before you do anything with self-actualization, you need to know reasonably well about yourself. And then we went to self-worth. Of course, if you don't know yourself, how can you value yourself? So self-worthiness is another big subject we had a look at. And all these are stemming from the topic we started at the beginning of the year, just considerations for new beginning. It's no longer new year, but it's still very relevant. How can we begin to put some things in place? How can you put the cart or the horse ahead of the cart? So, having gone through discovery, hopefully we have, it's still something I am still unpacking for myself. How much do I know about myself? Because if I don't know that much about myself, how can I expect to value myself? How can I even expect to add value to others? Because you can't give what you don't have. And then having gone through that whole narrative about self-care, self-worthiness, liking yourself even if the world doesn't like you. We've gone through a bit of that, and then we're now just trying to look at self-actualization, but not singly. The question becomes here, how can we carry the family along? And that is the main core of today's topic. We hear stories of people that get to the top, but they're still not fulfilled. They still feel something is missing. And part of it is just that one way or the other, you may have left family behind, you may have left something behind. So we just want to, of course, the topic is bigger than that, but just family actualization. Does self-actualization amounts to family actualization? Does being the best form of yourself, being the best success of yourself, can you also carry your family along in the world that we are in now? And it's a big question, and I'm not going to boast that within a 30 minutes quick chat like this, we'll finish everything, but just to open it up for consideration, so that we can take it from there. So just going back to this chat again briefly. This is roughly what that hierarchy broken down a bit more is saying, and in its simplest terms, if you don't satisfy your need for the basics, you cannot begin to talk about you are arrived at the top. So the same question is being asked or expressed in the family context. How can families be actualized? Is it possible in the world that we are in now? How can families be the best form of what families were designed to be? And I know one thing that families were meant to do. They are a place for safety. They are a place for belonging. But in the world that we're in now, and I don't need to start looking for stats. They are all there. I mean, if you look at the rate of separation of families, I'm not even just talking of the father and mother, husband and wife here, just separation of families, the whole disarray in families. How can we start talking about actualization? That families have become the best form of what they were designed to be. Belonging, safety. Where you will be, you feel that safety. No matter what the outside is doing to you, family was always meant to give you that safety. So can we say that it's being done today? And that is a question that I know that is going to take a one session like this to answer. But it's good to just begin to think about them. And I would like to unpack a few things as we go about this topic. So just getting back to the whole subject matter, again, just to remind us, I know we do this regularly to ground our conversation. This is family worth, where we believe family is worth it. Family deserves the attention. Family cannot be allowed to just be taken away from the face of the earth, because really, let's ask a question these days, especially among our youth, our younger generation. And just imagine if we take a survey and go onto the street among our youth and ask them, what do you think about family? What's the place of family in your future? How do you value family? When you're talking about father and mother, how do you value that whole institution of family? I can only imagine the kind of result that survey would deliver. But let's not put too much burden on our children, our youth, because really they are not supposed to be the one to answer that question. We need to prepare the ground for them. And that's why we're talking about actualization. How can we help families to be all that it was designed to be? And that's a big task. How can we actualize families? As an individual in family, I could go on to become the wealthiest, the most popular, the most actualized person I could arrive. But if I'm not able to carry my family along, And I know that this is opening up a lot of questions, a lot of a lot of issues, because some people may feel bad in hearing this. It's not meant to cause people to feel bad, but we need to talk about these things. So yes, Family World is leading this conversation. We're not saying that we're the best out there, but we're just adding our voice. We always try to make this clear, because when it comes to the subject matter of family, it cannot be left to guesswork. It cannot be left to diverse interpretations. We, as Family World, our point of reference is a Christian worldview. We do acknowledge, and that's important as well, that there are other views out there. So our key values are around those three cardinal values of the Christian worldview, which is love, hope, and faith. They always go together, but we know that if you were going to choose one out of the three, love covers a multitude of wrong. So love is the foundational aspect of all we do in Family World. We're not saying that even we have arrived, but we need to keep talking. We need to keep highlighting. Wisdom is a big thing for us. We believe in balance, and we have to talk about balance regularly, because life these days requires some form of balancing. So yes, that's some of the things we're going to be about Family World. And we always say that whenever we start something, because we're going to be opening up questions that may trigger things in people. And if you think you need to talk to someone, Life Australia, it's always there 24/7. If you think by what we said could remind you of something, of a place in your life that you need to really talk about, rather than going down the drain, or not the drain, downhill, or begin to feel worse about the situation, talk to someone. We believe very much in that in Family World as well. Beyond Blue is another one. These are in Australia. Other countries of the world will have theirs. These are organizations that government have funded to provide that support, that mental health support, that support to stop suicide, that support to just create platform for people to know that they have opportunity to talk to someone, and not keep going down mentally before it becomes too late. And of course, violence is not tolerated, and Family World believes strongly no one should have to endure violence. That is a no-no. It's not debatable. So Australia government has taken this serious. So there's a number for you to call if that is something that's even in the family context. And there's also a kids line where it involves kids. So when there's a few things I just want to highlight, because I don't want to drag this topic for too long. Recall that our topic today is just finalizing what we've been talking about, considerations for new beginning, self-actualization, and how can we also make it family-actualization. Self-actualization, how can we make it family-actualization as well? And I'll go back to this chart again, because this is where we are talking about. I know that some people can relate to this. It's a very popular hierarchy theory of needs. Those in the field of psychology, science, business, most of us have come through this. But I just felt some of the theories, some of the narratives there can be applied. The principles, that's the key word I was looking for, can be applied to the family context as well. So for a family context, for example, where families are just at a lower level, I mean, people cannot even have peace. It's difficult to be talking of actualization, difficult to be talking of being the best that it was designed to be, being a place of safety, being a place of rest, being a place of belonging. So, why, as individuals, we want to get to the top, where we want to become the most we can be, and everyone should actually aspire. But the message today is that we can also aspire families to be that. Is it a difficult task? Is it a tall ask? Does it look like that when we look at the current family situation globally? It's no longer just the Western world. Stories abound of the family situation has become very dire, very challenging to the extent that some people may have thrown in the towel that family is no longer what it is. Why bother? We have situations where our younger generation, I don't have statistics, but I know that the younger generation are literally asking, is it worth it? Is it worth getting into a family context? Is it worth marrying? Is it worth sacrificing? So the question really is, what's the place of family in the future? But because we know in our Christian worldview that family is here to stay, but it is on that thread. The institution is on that thread. The institution has become, it's as if it's losing its relevance. And I feel, yeah, we need to ask that question. We need to talk about it. If not other thing, we need to support our younger generation. Otherwise, really, many of them will not see the need. Some of them seeing the way we, the adults, are doing family. I wonder whether they are being motivated. I wonder whether they're seeing a good template. But hey, I always say this, the fact that everyone, even when it comes down to everyone in the world, is not having a good time in family, in that narrative, it does not remove from the value. That's why family worth, we almost end up with say, with family is worth it. So just a few things to consider here. No, that's not what I was asking for. Yes, if you see this later, we would like to know where you're watching from. But this is what I wanted to flag. Yes, just this question or narrative, if I may put it in form of question, is the family unit still relevant for safety and sustainability today? Can we do without the family unit? And I'm not saying that you necessarily have to get married. Actually, sometimes some people may be doing well not to get married. But the question is that institution called family, is it still relevant? Can it still fulfill its purpose of safety and sustainability? And I quickly want to say here that answers to that question will depend on family members ourselves. Let me start from myself. Everyone doing our bit, irrespective of what it looks like now. The Because the one thing I know with life is that there is always hope. That's why I like, that's my life, the Christian worldview. It says somewhere in the Bible that even for a tree that looks dead, sometimes you see some tree lying dead for a while. It just takes a scent of water, a drop of nutrient, it will grow again. And sometimes such trees could become the biggest in the forest. So there is always hope for the family unit, irrespective of the current situation and the current narrative out there. Because sometimes when you look at the narrative, when you look at the stats, when you look at the trends, when you look at even what you feel sometimes as an individual, when you look at your own context where you've grown up in, immediate, extended, it's almost as if, why bother? But it's going to depend on individuals within the family unit. Everyone making up their mind that it's worth fighting for. It's worth going an extra mile for. It's worth trying again, irrespective of how it looks now. It's worth picking up the pieces and running again. It is worth saying a word of prayer about. It's worth keeping up hope, because sometimes somebody has to keep hope alive. And like I said, it's not so much of people have to stay together or people have to stay in there. No, sometimes the narrative and the institution of the family, it's beyond the present. It's about generations. It's about the next generation. So even if I make a shipwreck of mine now, what can I do to salvage it for the next generation? So it's very important to know that the responsibility lies with individuals within the family. And I just want to say here that really the stakes are too high to give up. I mean, psychologists have now known almost not every, I'm not a psychologist, but I do know that quite a lot of things, issues, are traced back to family upbringing, developmental stages. So I think it's important to do as much as we can to give the best hope, even if not for the adults in the family. Even that is worth it. But what about the next generation? Because what we do today or don't do will affect the next generation. So the stakes are too high to overlook when we come to actualizing the family. And I just want to say here again, just coming back here, the government could do the best they could do. And the organizations they support could do the best they could do to support family unit. But do you know that there is a limit to which they can do? And you know why? There is something about a family unit that is sacred. There's something about it that is also, that has a boundary. So many times before people know what is happening, it becomes too late, because beyond the four walls, beyond what you see, a lot is already happening in the family unit. So unfortunately, there is a limit to which an outsider can do. So family actualization is going to depend on the family members, starting with the parents, of course, because children, that's why my heart goes deeply for children in the family unit these days, because many times things happen to them that they did not ask for. And sometimes there's nothing they can do about it. So primarily, this responsibility lie with parents. And of course, for children that know as they grow, their future is at stake by what happens in the family. Yes, they may take actions, and God help them that they should indeed. But the primary responsibility for family actualization, for helping the family to be all that it was ordained to be, that it was intended to be, rests with parents, with the adults in the family. And like I said already, the stakes are too high to overlook. And yeah, just to begin to round it up, I did mention this is not a topic that I want to spend time on, because it may now seem as if I'm an expert. I'm not. It's good to just open it up for considerations, open it up for further thoughts. Because personally, I am a little bit urgent when it comes to the lot of the family unit. If you allow me call myself a visionary here, I look back, or I look forward now, not back, forward 50 years from now, the next generation, the next couple of generations, and then coupled with a multicultural narrative and all the complexities that come with that as well. And I ask myself, what will be the lot of the family unit then? And I'm not going to play God, because ultimately He has the answer. But I also know that He expects us to talk about it, to voice it where necessary. Of course, I'm not going to be a talkative or troublemaker, but I just think that we need to get back to basics when it comes to family institution and actualizing the family unit, helping families to be all, as much as reasonably possible, all that family was meant to be. And I'll give you one that is very illustrative. The family was meant to be a place of safety, a place of belonging, a place where, however the outside beats you around, when you come home, you should feel safe. You should feel that sense of you don't need to perform. You don't need to show an impression. You don't need to, because that's what we do out there sometimes in the corporate world. Impression management. You have to show up. You have to show up for the occasion at work. You have to perform. Otherwise, you may get kicked out. But family is meant to be where you come into, where you were born into, to be safe. Safe. And that word in its own means a lot. That means further unpacking, which I'm not going to go into. So it calls for getting back to the basics, just getting back to, hey, and we have to take it personal because family issue, it's so complex. Though I have this platform, I'm not going to take it for granted. I don't have the right to pry into families. No, and I'm not going to go there. It's not for me to do. And sometimes professionals are there to do some things as well. Even at that, they are limited. So it comes down to the individuals in the family, starting from the great grand, the granny, the grandpa, grandma, because what grandpa and grandma did, more often than not, it gets down to a grandchild. And I'm not going to start saying that I'm calling out anyone here. No, far from it. But these are realities of life. My action now as a dad or inaction, one way or the other, I know that there's a place for you've done your best. Yeah, there's always that place. That's why this is not meant to be judgmental because at the end of the day, only God knows who has done the best they could do. But it still calls for self-reflection. As a member of a family, and as a dad, as a partner in a family, depending on your role as a wife, husband, uncle, it's let's say within the immediate family unit. As a child, dad, mom, individuals, it calls for getting back to basics. I'm asking a question, what could I do to actualize my family? What could I do to help us get to that point where the original intent, again, I will stay with those two, safety and sustainability. What can I do? Or what can I do more for us to achieve that? And I would like to leave it at that question because it's not meant for me to answer. I will have to answer mine. As I'm talking, I'm also reflecting. What can I do? What more could I do to help my family to be actualized? And if there is one thing that I was meant to achieve on earth, I know there's a few more that I was born to achieve, but I believe that is one that I'll keep striving to want to achieve. And I hope, I believe that's same for many, that moms, son, daughter. So I just want to leave it there today because, like I said earlier on, just want to round up this series. It's not a series that was meant to sort out everything within Family What episodes. The issues are so big, the stakes are high, but just to open it up for conversations, for further considerations. That's why it was always considerations. Like I said, we started with self-discovery, the importance, individuals, and as a family unit, just to know yourself, know yourself, know yourself. And the more you know yourself, the more you can add value to yourself. And the more you add value to yourself, the more you become so full of value that you can spread value. And then just that self-worthiness, talking about value, self-value, yes. It starts from the first principle, and then today we're just talking about actualization, but taking it beyond individual self, so that is very important. Also about family actualization. So I hope when you watch this later, if you get to come across this, you can leave a comment or two for us, and reach out to us. Family World is open. We're always open to ideas. We're open to topics you think, but like we said again, without any apology because of the issues, the family narrative, it's so delicate to leave it to chance, to leave it to multiple interpretations, even though we do acknowledge that there are diverse views. We hold on and establish family worth on the Christian worldview, though we try to also be inclusive. Thanks for listening today, and hopefully we will see you next episode. And we always appreciate your feedback. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing more of you. Bye bye.